Prepare to get mental. You're computing percents mentally today. And you're not going to use one of these, you're going to use one of these. Because when you go to the mall and you see a sales rack, you don't dig out one of these out of your back pocket. And maybe you might dig into your pocket for an iPhone or an iPad. Well, maybe not an iPad. An iPod Touch. But by the time you open up your Touch, turn it on, look for the app, find the app, hopefully you press in the right numbers, I can usually guess within a few cents what that cost of the new item is going to be just doing math mentally. And it takes practice. It takes lots and lots of practice, but I'm going to show you a few tricks today. So let's get ready to get started. Now there's a few tricks for computing mentally. If you know what 1% of 100 is, it helps out quite a bit. In order to find out 1% of any number, you just need to move the decimal point over 2 place values to the left. The other trick is, let's get rid of those numbers and move that up, is for 10%. If you know what 10% of 100 is, or 10% of any number, makes it much easier. So that's simply moving the decimal point 1 place value to the left. So 1%, 2 place values to the left. 10%, 1 place value to the left. So knowing that, what is 1% of 673? Well, based on what we just covered, I'm simply moving the decimal point value 2 places to the left. So 1% of 673 is 6.73. 1% of 13.4. Now we have a decimal point within the number itself. It's still the same rule. I still move that decimal point over 2 place values to the left. So 1% of 13.4 would be 0.134. %20 of 60. Now if I know how to compute for 10%, it's just a matter of doubling the 10% to find out what 20% is. 10% of 60 is 6. If I double 6, it's 12. I could also accomplish this same step by multiplying 60 times 0.2, whichever is easier for you. How about 40% of 35? 10% of 35 is 3.5. Now I need to take that 4 times. So double 3.5, I get 7, and double 7, I get 14. 30% of 400. Well, I ask myself, what's 10% of 400? And it would be 40. And then I multiply that by 3. So 30% of 400 would be 120. It's helpful, in fact, it's required, you need to memorize this, to know the equivalent fractions, decimals, and percents. 1/2, 1/4, 3/4, that's all pretty common sense at this point. 1/3 and 2/3, notice that even with the decimal point, you still have a fraction there. The way we could get around this, of course, would be using a bar notation over one of the 3's or one of the 6's, depending on which fraction you're talking about. 3/10, 7/10, 9/10, not terribly difficult. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, and 4/5. You need to memorize these. and also the eighths. Probably the more challenging of all the ones that I've just showed you.